Hello and welcome to Day 3 and what will be the final episode of the side series from the Games with John and James podcast, What's Going On with John? James and I were able to record an episode this morning, so you'll see the latest episode of the Games with John and James podcast at its usual time of 11 a.m., wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Rounding out the festivities on Sunday, we had the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase, as well as the PC Games Showcase brought to you by PC Gamer magazine. Once again, I have compiled a list of all the more notable games from the show, and we're going to discuss those right here, right now, right after this music break. Alright, starting off right with the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, we had two heavy hitters right off the bat, Starfield and Redfall, which unfortunately have slipped to 2023, previously dated for 2022. At the end of the show, we actually saw first reveal gameplay of Starfield, which looked very exciting, very Fallout, very Bethesda, but a trademark style is nothing to sneeze at. Hopefully seeing the game in action will tide some people over until the game is inevitably released. Taking a look on the socials, it seems as though people are already inviting the comparison of Starfield to No Man's Sky, the game that legendarily released with very little content and eventually grew into something that was actually substantial. Looking through some of the other trailers and other announcements I have down on this list, there's a whole lot of space. It seems like the entire theme of the Summer Games Fest and everyone's showcase this summer has pretty much been, let's go to space, let's die in space, or let's try to survive in space. You know, with ballooning inflation and rising temperatures and all the other plagues of the world, I can totally understand why the idea of escaping to space is on a lot of developers' minds right now. But I don't want to bog everybody down with the woes of the real world. We want to talk about video games, so let's keep going. Hollow Knight Silksong got a brand new trailer showcasing some new bosses and new enemy types, as well as not a release date, but a confirmation that it will be available day one when it eventually is released on Game Pass. Game Pass has been pretty much the saving grace of Xbox and the entire Xbox brand, so it makes sense that getting more games confirmed for day one release on Xbox Game Pass, and I'm paraphrasing Phil Spencer here, will only bolster their Xbox player ecosystem. Alright, looking ahead to franchise maintenance, we had a new Forza game, Forza Motorsport, officially dropping all numbers because I'm sure this would be the 6th or 7th at this point. For those of you who are fans of the more simulator type of racing style as opposed to the Forza Horizon series, there's a new game for you coming out. Not to be outdone, a new DLC coming to Forza Horizon 5, bringing Hot Wheels tracks, much in the same vein of Forza Horizon 4's LEGO expansion pack. And it looks absurd looking at the trailer and seeing those giant, iconic orange ramps in the sky. I don't know about you, but it does my heart good. As someone who's been not only a fan of racing games, but driving games, and I can stress that there is a very fundamental difference, it's good to see that arcadey, playful style coming back strong. Rounding out the show, we had some other game announcements, including Naraka Blade Point, a supposed melee-focused battle royale type game. We have the finally coming out of early access release of Obsidian Entertainment's Grounded. New games like Scorn that have been announced previously are finally getting more coverage as they're getting ready for release this October. Ravenlock, a Legend of Zelda / Final Fantasy inspired voxel-based graphics RPG adventure game. We also have Gunfire Reborn, a 4-player co-op first-person shooter featuring furry animals. Yes, I'm sure the ASPCA and PETA are going to love roasting that game. New from Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, we have Wolong Fallen Dynasty. It's probably made from the people who made Nioh, so be prepared for a very hard time. And coming from Squanch Games and Justin Roiland, co-creator of Rick and Morty, we have High on Life, a game taking place in space, go figure, featuring a talking gun and a player character who are trying to shut down a alien-human drug trafficking trade. It looks profoundly wacky and off the wall, just like all of the other Justin Roiland's properties, so if you like that style of humor, that's right up your alley. Closing out the list, we have the long-awaited Arc 2, or Dinosaurs the Game, featuring Vin Diesel, Fast and the Furious-ing a Tyrannosaurus. So, again, another game that looks profoundly off the wall and wacky, so if that's what your cup of tea is, hey, I mean, that new Jurassic Park movie came out, and now you've got that, so you got stuff to look forward to. Moving right along to the PC Games Show, I have some notable games here from the show. Starting off with something that looks near and dear to my heart, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I was a fan of the first game, and this game looks bigger, badder, and better, so I'm looking forward to that. Coming out of left field, we have Agent 64, Spies Never Die, a GoldenEye 007/Perfect Dark inspired first-person shooter coming to PC. I've said it before and I'll say it again, we live in an era where anything can be inspiration and developers can make any type of game that they want, and the fact that people are making full-on homages to retro-style games down to the graphic style and console they were released on, I love seeing it. We also got a closer look at Stormgate, the new game made by Frost Giant Games, featuring people who were former Blizzard developers who worked on games like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. They made sure to reiterate that it will be free to play, but not pay to win, and of course, no NFTs, so good on ya. Stick to your messaging. In what I could describe as Scott Pilgrim meets Persona, we have Demon School, a game that takes place in a spooky high school where it is possessed by demons, and of course has a very authentic Brian Lee O'Malley Oni Press independent comic book style of art. Just interjecting my own observations on the conferences we've seen so far, it seems that everything we've seen from the PC Game Show has had more of a wide breadth of genre and art style than a lot of the other previous game shows have had. While I know that Sony and Microsoft and all of the big heavy-hitting publishers and developers need to focus on the more blockbuster titles, I think the advantage of PC gaming is that no genre or style is off limits. So there's more of a leaning toward strategy games, there's more of a leaning toward puzzle games. Yes, there are first-person shooters, but maybe this first-person shooter is one that has Dusk-style graphics, or N64-style graphics, or maybe this one is inspired by Persona, and it just takes place in an American high school. So seeing the amount of diversity in these trailers has been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool to see that the PC still gets a lot of the more edgy and kind of experimental games. And what PC Game Show couldn't be finished without talking about System Shock, complete with Warren Spector cameo, as he discussed the trials and tribulations of developing games in 1994 and I would imagine, the promised land of developing the exact same type of game in current times. And rounding out this show, we had the New Blood block, or what I'm calling it as the New Blood block, because New Blood showed up and talked about 6 new games that they're working on right now. You have Ultra Kill Act 2, you have an HD texture pack for Dusk, you have The Black Labyrinth, you have Fallen Aces, Faith, the Holy Trinity, the 3rd chapter in the Faith game franchise, and of course the new game franchise that they were kind of blue-balled out of showing last year, Gloomwood. If you go and find the trailer, you'll see that all of these games have a very distinct retro PC charm to them. So if you're like me and that's your type of game, yeah, you're definitely going to be checking those out. And finally, we got a trailer for a mod. Yes, a mod, ladies and gentlemen, for Half-Life Alyx called Half-Life Alyx Levitation. This is the first time I can really recall that conference time was lent to a mod to a game as opposed to a brand new game or something released by the head developers or publishers or whatever. To its credit, it looks very good. It looks very much like a continuation on the gameplay established in Half-Life Alyx, so if you have the means to actually play it, go for it. I don't think they'd have the gall to try and actually sell it. I'm sure it'll be available for free, so hey, more free games. And so, that's been my list. Do you agree or disagree? Again, why do I say agree or disagree? If I didn't mention a game that you're personally excited for, let us know in the comments. Add us on Instagram, reach out to us on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever fine social medias are sold. I'll be foregoing the usual outro. Usually the outros and intros are reserved for what's going on in personal lives, so as you might have gathered, I've been working on getting these episodes out to y'all over the course of this weekend, so I've been watching trailers and paying attention to conferences and paying attention to social media, so that's pretty much how I spent my weekend. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's in that boat, so again, if there were games that you saw during the shows that you're personally excited for, let us know. We will be returning to our regularly scheduled programming starting tomorrow. The topic for discussion this week will be video game backlog and how to escape from underneath it, so hope you're looking forward to that one. This has been What's Going On with John. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you on the main podcast. Take care, everybody.